always have to take a deep breath when I begin these videos. So today I'm talking about something that's quite embarrassing. My camera's having problems, so I have to like keep an eye out on it. I've got more makeup on than usual today because I've got a photo shoot for my album cover. So don't mind my over makeup today, and it's actually quite ironic of the subject that we're talking about today. It's really not a good day to have loads of makeup on. I bet you can't even tell the difference. I bet like I look normal. My eyes are like way darker. So today I'm talking about feeling ugly. Now, I'm a bit weary about talking about these things because the human mind is quite interesting because it just believes whatever you will tell it to. Some minds are more like stubborn than others, so then they'll be like, yeah, right. But then if you carry on, they're gonna end up believing you. And I don't want people to believe that I'm ugly, so I'm not gonna sit here and start telling you why I'm ugly, how I'm ugly, because I don't want you to see the flaws that I see in myself. I want you to just see whatever you want to see and just leave it there. You do you. But this subject is a very, very sensitive subject for me because I have some problems, and I suspect that I'm not the only one. Okay, I'm getting really hot. I'm gonna have to take my socks off. Every week I see like my toes sticking out at the end there, and I'm like, Nayna, why do you not pay attention? Why do you have to have your toes over there? And I just hope that it's not distracting. You know, when you're trying to watch and all you could just see is toes at the end. Here we go. I'm so sorry. I cannot keep focusing on my toes. So just please. See, I shouldn't have pointed it out because now you're going to be like, her toes are there. It's what you point out, people see. But the reason why I'm having this conversation is because I want us to normalize talking about how we feel and not be embarrassed about it, and normalize it and not hide things like, yeah, this is how I feel, yeah, I'm embarrassed about this, yes, I have this problem, how can we help each other, how can we get past it? Like all these things that females might be embarrassed about. I'm not just talking about females. I don't know why I'm getting so obsessed with talking about females lately, because men must have, and I know that they have these things because I have a son and I know that he's insecurities, and so then we have these insecurities, and I want us to normalize talking about them to see if we can find solutions, like not only to feeling ugly but to all things, like, oh, I have this embarrassing thing and I don't know what to do about it, and can we talk about it? So then we could normalize the conversation and get some solutions. Like, yes please, let's do that. I think I get a kick out of being honest, because like I see that people are so scared of being honest, and I don't feel fear in being honest, so I get a bit of a kick of it out of it. I think it's that bit of like the naughty child that wants attention, and so then they do it on purpose because they get a kick out of it. I think I get a kick out of being honest. And I think that's why I'm so honest, because I get a kick out of it. I was like, yeah, you find it scary to be honest, do you? Watch me, I don't. Yeah, you're scared of asking that question, are you? Watch me, I ain't. I get a kick out of it. So you can always count on me, to be honest. I can't sweat too much because I need this makeup to stay intact until 2 p.m. and then after that I can do whatever it wants. So headline of the week, right? A lot of celebrities like come with these differences. So one celebrity will not be caught dead telling you the ugly parts of themselves, because like I just said to you, they don't want you to see it. They want to keep this facade up of this perfection that I am. So they're never going to point out all the things that they hate about themselves. Whereas then there's the opposite of another celebrity where they're like, listen, I feel ugly all the time, and that's how I feel. So please don't think that I'm perfect, because I'm not. I feel ugly. And actually some people, I think they refuse to accept that they have imperfections because they don't want to. Because I swear for the longest time I didn't want to accept that I had flaws, and what I'd do instead is that I'd pretend that I didn't have a face. And so there's a whole history to why this happens, and I think that actually in a lot of us there's a whole history why we have these insecurities, why we think we are monsters, right? And I had a friend once who said to me all the time, like, Nayna, I think you have body dysmorphia. And she always used to start her voice notes with saying, oh, hi, my pretty friend. And it always used to make me feel a bit like giggly, like, oh, she thinks I'm pretty. And then when people call me pretty and stuff, I always feel a bit like awkward, like, oh, okay, can we get past this part of the conversation? Even though I know I do sexy videos, I know I take sexy pictures and I like them, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's sexy, or I look at the mirror and I'm like, oh yeah, I look pretty today, and oh yeah, I like my hair like this, oh it's pretty. So I'm very aware of the prettiness that people say that I have. But at the same time, I'm very aware of the things that I find very unattractive. And I'm sure that people watching these videos of mine would have picked up on some of those imperfections of mine, right? Anyway, so it's so funny because, so she used to say that I have this body dysmorphia because I used to point out to her like why I'm not pretty or why I'm not the way she thinks she sees me. And she'd be like, what? I can't see what you're seeing. And I'd be like, look, this, because she was like my best friend, I was very comfortable in saying, look this, look that. And then she'd be like, I can't see it. So no, you still look pretty. And then I'll show her like a picture, like, no, this picture's ugly. She'll be like, well, no, it just looks like you're a bit uncomfortable. It doesn't look ugly. Anyways, body dysmorphia is actually a real thing in people where you see yourself in a dysmorphed way. I don't know if that's a word, dysmorphed way. Like you look at yourself in the mirror and you don't see what other people see. Like it's almost like your nose like grows or something in your eyesight, or like you have a spot on your face and a spot grows like when you look at it, and it's not that big in reality, or your nose is not that way in reality, but you're seeing it in this like morphed way. I don't know if that's how it works, right? Because I think that that's how it works. And people with dysmorphia, body dysmorphia, they either completely ignore the mirror and get rid of mirrors in their life and they don't want mirrors in their house, or they do the opposite and they're constantly checking themselves and they're constantly checking for the things that are wrong with them. And I'm so embarrassed to admit, because I didn't want to admit that I had a body dysmorphia, but I'm very embarrassed to admit that I am constantly checking sometimes. Like I think this is so embarrassing. I hate it, but I have to be honest. I think it will be something like, I don't know, I'd remember something about being pretty and then I'd be like, but I have this problem. So then I'd go to the mirror and I'll check the problem and I'm like, yeah, you see the problem's still there.
Wow.
And then 10 minutes later, I'm like, let me check if the problem's still there again. But this only happens like when I'm bored and I have nothing to do, because if I'm busy, I'm not checking the mirror. Anyways, and it's so interesting. I feel like I've already got into the conversation, so I don't even know where to begin the timestamp of like the main discussion. So I'll begin it here. But it's so interesting that even though I have this body dysmorphia and I'm like constantly checking when I'm bored and I have time, I'm constantly checking like, oh, my imperfections. At the same time, I don't have awareness of my face like a lot of the time. What I do have awareness of is my expression, because I'm talking to my therapist at the moment and we're talking about autism and how autistic people behave, and we are very aware of like the facial expressions of what I'm doing. Like, am I making you feel uncomfortable? What's my face doing? Am I like, do I look angry or do I look sad, or like, am I, and we get extremely uncomfortable at what our face is doing. But it's not about beauty or how how beautiful I am. It's not that at all. And so then for the most part, I actually don't even think about beauty when I'm talking to people. But when I start to want to be pretty and I start to want to be attractive, which is usually only when I'm thinking, never when I'm speaking to somebody, I never pay attention to that. But if I'm by myself and I want to be a pretty person, that's when the body dysmorphia kind of takes over. And it's like, but you're not pretty, are you? Like, but you look a bit weird, don't ya?
Oh no!
Okay, so I know that me saying this stuff here, that I think that I look weird, right? Some people might be a bit triggered by that because, well, I've just had some experiences around me where people are like, are you serious? Like, you're insecure. Like, are you serious? You think you're ugly? And they find it a little bit maybe offensive that I feel that way. But I do, that's the truth. I feel that way. And I think it came from my childhood where like I was told a lot of the time how imperfect I was and how I looked like a monster. And I know that it was just like bullying and stuff, but my literal brain took it literal. And I believed for the longest time that I was the black sheep of the family. I was the ugly duckling. I was the one that was like curvy, and I was never like skinny, and I was always the odd one that would talk about odd things and do odd things, and so then I was always the black sheep, and so then I believed that the black sheep was the ugly one. So then that stuck to my brain. And I know that people who might be watching this and they might be like, yeah, but you're not ugly and this is just annoying. But I could say the same about you, because that's what we do with each other. We see each other in a different lens than how we see ourselves. So then I could sit here and say, oh no, well, you're not ugly. And you could be like, yeah, but I am. It's like with my son. I don't want to expose him because he doesn't like this type of thing. But he has some things that he sees that I do not see. And I'm like, what? Like, for example, he has the same color eyes as me, but I think that his eyes are greener than mine. And he's like, well, no, clearly your eyes are greener than mine. And I'm like, no, your eyes are greener than mine. And we have a bit of debate who has the greener eye. Why are we debating that? And you could really see that he believes that my eyes are greener than his, and so then my eyes are prettier than his, and I can clearly see that his eyes are prettier than mine. So I don't understand that. So we do perceive each other differently than how we perceive ourselves. So then the way you feel about yourself is your reality and how you feel. Which might be different to how other people see you. So then when people do see what you see and they agree with you, like, oh, that's really not a flattering angle, is it, Nayna? Or, oh, you really look uncomfortable and it makes you look a bit ugly. Like, if people see what you see, it's embarrassing. And it confirms to you that you're ugly. No. And then the savior comes in and then they say, nah, I don't agree with you. Nah, I don't think that looks ugly at all, actually. And it's like this savior, like, oh my gosh, maybe I'm not ugly. And I think I have both energies in my life for sure. I think I have the energies of people seeing what I see and they're kind of embarrassed for me. And people who don't see what I see and they just like, what are you talking about, Nayna? Like, what ugly, where? And then the other person's like, yeah, she looks a bit ugly like that. Oh, it's so terrible. This conversation's so terrible because why? Why do we see this? And also, how can we like delete all those people that agree with us? And only, like, for example, I met a guy recently, right? I think he is very handsome, very attracted to him. He's very handsome. And I could see, because I read energy and I feel feelings, I can see that he has a little bit of the same problem that I do, where he sees himself in the way that other people don't see him. So I think that he has insecurities about himself, exactly like I do. But I can see, oh, it's because I'm very intuitive, so I can see like why he would feel that way, but I don't agree with it, because like for me, he's very attractive and he's very attractive. But I can tell that he's having that same experience that I am, where he's a bit insecure about himself. Anyway, so my therapist, I'm gonna keep mentioning her until I no longer see her anymore. She's actually a psychologist. She's not just a counselor, she's a psychologist. She has a doctor in her name. Don't know why I'm telling you that. Anyway, so she's helping me understand this dysmorphia, because it's actually a really big thing in my life. Like, it's not a big thing, it's just come up in therapy, because it's not a big thing, but it is a big thing, but it's not. Because like I said, when I talk to people, I don't really sit there and think like, oh, do I look pretty? Like, it doesn't even come across my head. But then when I catch myself like, and I'm looking really rough and I catch myself in the mirror and I'm like, oh my God, why do I think I'm ever pretty? Like, this is not pretty. Anyways, my therapist is talking about the whole childhood thing and where these things come from. And so then it is born in the childhood years, where we don't do a good job at lifting people up and making sure that they are confident and self-loving and aware of what kindness is, and how to promote kindness in the self and how to love the self and not to base things on this and that. And even me, I might do things by accident. Like, I might say to my son like, oh, you've lost a bit of weight. And for him, that's like insulting. And even with me, when people say to me like, oh, you've lost weight, I'm like, excuse me, can you just not say that, please? I find that very rude. So why did I do that to my son? And I think it's because I'm trying to make him feel a certain way. Like, I'm trying to encourage him, but it doesn't do that. It does the opposite. So it's all messy. Like, we don't know how to lift people up properly, or how to teach them self-love properly. And you know, maybe my mum was even worse than me, where she would be like, oh, you got so many spots right now, and it's like, ouch. Why do we say that to children? And even now, my mum as a grown woman, and I'm a grown woman, she still says things to me that are just like, ouch, why do you say that? So then I do think that we are not aware of how we make each other feel. You might be sitting in the same room and somebody's always been called pretty and nobody ever calls you pretty, or your friend is always like getting the guys like looking at her and down the street and nobody ever looks at you. So then I hate that, and I hate that that's our experience, and that's where these insecurities come from, when nobody ever gives you the same attention that they give that person. So when people call me pretty in front of other people, it just makes me feel a bit like annoyed, because I remember how it felt like being the child in my family and nobody ever called me pretty. They always just called me special or clever, never the pretty one. So then when people started calling me pretty when I got older, I'll be like, I think you're talking to the wrong sister. Like, if you met my other sister, and I had to really break that out of my system. And actually, I guess relationship after relationship helped me break that out of my system, because then I started to realize that, hold on, people have types, and maybe I am pretty to this guy, and then my sister's not so pretty to the same guy, and maybe that guy fancies my sister but he doesn't fancy me, or maybe that guy likes really character, so he finds me like a beautiful because my character's like so out of this world. So then I did start breaking out of that, being the ugly duckling of the family, but it took a lot of work and a lot of awareness and a lot of observing as an adult, because the child wasn't taught that. I wasn't taught that as a child. Anyways, I think we have a massive problem in this world to do with beauty, because it's so funny. I did a music video recently and I edited the whole video. I was so happy with it. I didn't even think about my body shape when I was editing it. I was like, oh, this is so good. Oh yeah, I like it. And then I was sitting with this guy. He came to visit me and he wanted to speak to me. And he was like, oh, what are you up to? And I said, I'm editing my video. He was like, oh, let me have a look. And then I showed it to him. And he didn't say this. Again, this is just energy that I pick up from people. He didn't say this, but he became aware that my body shape, I'm telling you, this is what happened, because I didn't see it before he saw the video, and I think he became aware that my body is thicker than the usual girl. And so then I look thicker. I know that maybe right now I don't look that thick, right? But in this video I look thicker than I do right now. And I didn't realize that. And so because he watched it and he was thinking, oh, she's a thick girl, it came into my head and I was like, oh gosh, I look thick in this video. And then now I can't help but watch the whole thing. I'm like, oh, I look thick. And there's one scene where I have like a tracksuit, so you can't really see how thick I am. But the other two scenes of the other two outfits, you can see how thick I am. And I became so embarrassed by it. Even though I still posted it, even though I still like it, it's like, oh my gosh, I look so thick. Anyway, so I think we have a massive problem in this world as to what you're supposed to look like. Even though we have proven that people have types, right? So people like the thickness, and some people like the skinniness, and some people like the heaviness, and some people like the lightness. They want to be able to pick a girl up. It's like, please don't pick me up, because I don't think I'm that light. And then we see the movies of the guy picking the girl up, and then it's like, oh, I'm too heavy. You can't do that to me, but I can try and pick you up though. Because I'm strong. Oh my God, what I'm trying to say here is that we've created a standard that doesn't fit all. And of course we have, because this world is so like immature and primitive. So of course we've created a standard that doesn't fit everybody. Of course we've got leadership leading the whole entire world when it doesn't fit everybody. Of course we've done that. Of course we called this pretty and that ugly, and now everybody wants to be this one and not that one. Of course we've done that, because we're so immature and we have no idea what we're doing. So if you don't have a skinny waist, and even having a flat bum nowadays is embarrassing to some girls, but if you don't have a skinny waist with a little bit of a bum, and then like skinny arms with like skinny here, then your body is not nice. And if you don't have like a particular face, which actually that's a little bit more broader, then anyway, then you're not pretty. So if and this goes throughout all cultures. So even like my therapist was saying that even in her country, like if you don't have this particular eye color and this particular hair color and this particular texture in your hair, then you're not pretty. And so then we've created these standards. They're very unrealistic, because we've got 8 billion humans who look different from each other. So can't we just have 8 billion beauty standards, please, instead of like 5? Because 8 billion cannot fit into 5. And so then everybody else is going to feel ugly, and that's not nice. It's not nice, because it's not even true anyway, because I'm so positive, yeah, I start picking out things in people, and I start, like, if somebody's insecure, I'm going to say, now I'm going to look at you and I'm going to find you pretty. And it's not even that I fake it, because I can't fake things anyway, but I'm going to find what makes you beautiful, and I always do, and I always feel like, oh, I bet a guy could really fall in love with you because of that. And she's not seeing that, but I am. And I want to tell her, and sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And I try to find things in people that make them beautiful, that make them attractive, or a guy or whoever you want to fall in love with you. And is that the only reason why we want to be beautiful? Because we want people to fall in love with us? What? For me, no. For me, I want to love myself. And if I love myself, then that's good enough for me. Because then when I love myself, and if a guy disagrees with me and he finds me ugly, like for example, the guy in the bedroom, I didn't think to myself like, oh, I must lose weight so this guy can think I'm attractive. My first instinct was like, right, get this guy out of here. I don't want him here anymore. Wow. Because he's ruining my vision here, like, get out. Even though I swear, like, if he knew that I was thinking this, he would like beg for me to change my mind, like, please don't think that. I didn't think that. I love your body the way it is. I know that he would probably say all these things, but it doesn't matter because you thought those things, right? So then I think that we should fall in love with ourselves and then allow other people to agree with that. And if they don't agree with that, like, bin them, get rid of them. Bye-bye. Or let's not talk about this. Let's not talk about prettiness. We could talk about other things. Let's not talk about this, because we don't agree about this and you're gonna make me feel about myself. So let's not talk about this. Unless you agree with me, then let's talk about it, because then it's gonna make me feel good. Like, let's do that. So then I do think we need more encouragement. Like, so like what I was saying, all these things I think about these girls, I think we need more encouragement, more like spoken stuff. Like, because I wonder how many people find me pretty and they never tell me that. And the only people that ever tell me that is like in weird situations, like if somebody's trying to get my number or if somebody's trying to like hit on me, that's when they tell me I'm pretty. But what about from like girls and or just like people who are not trying to hit on me? Like, can't those people lift me up and tell me how beautiful I am? So then we can celebrate each other. But I'm telling you, it has to be like 50-50. Like, you have to do the inner work, because people can tell you all they like that you're beautiful, but if you believe you're not, because you have this beauty standard that you know you're not that. Like me, I'm not skinny. My thighs, even though they don't look that big here, my thighs are thick. I weigh, how much do I weigh? I can never get under 10 stone. I'm always at 10 stone. No matter how slim I get, I'm always at 10 stone. So then when somebody says, yeah, I'm 9 stone, I feel like a giant. Like, you're a whole 1 stone less than me. Why? Why? Why can't you just be 9 stone and I'm 10 stone and that's what I am? Why can't I just have these thighs and that's what I am? Why can't you have your thighs and that's what you are? And why is it that when I look at you with these big thighs and this whatever you're doing, I find you beautiful? And if I told you that, you'd be like, what? So then I think that the work is 50-50. Yes, I can tell you how beautiful you are, but you have to fall in love with yourself, which I have been. I don't know if that's gonna sound bad, but I have been doing that. I want to fall in love with myself. I want to love myself. I want to find myself beautiful. I want to skip a beat for myself. Like, I don't know about that. I don't want to fall in love with myself like that, because then I can't kiss myself, and I need to kiss people. Even though I'm not sure about kissing with tongue. Even though that guy that is handsome, I will kiss him with tongue. Anyway, so here comes the exciting part. Then we concentrate, instead of like how beautiful we are, which we are, and we should like fall in love with ourselves, and we should accept people's compliments, like, you're beautiful. Yes, I am, I'm beautiful. So even though we are beautiful, what we concentrate on more than that is, what do we contribute to the world? Because I'm telling you, that makes you even more attractive. That even makes you even more beautiful. Like, what do I bring? What skills do I have? And how do I give myself to people? And I swear, kindness to me is so attractive. Like, if a guy is kind, that activates my heart, that activates my brain. I want him, I want to be with him. And if he's not kind and like to other people, and I'm watching him and he's not kind to other people, that puts me off. That I don't want him. Like, oh, I don't like that. So all these things, what do you contribute to life? What skills are you giving to life? How helpful are you? How much do you give of yourself to people, and how helpful are you? And what you do for the world makes you feel good, because then you feel needed, you feel like you're doing a good job and that you serve a purpose for the world. So if we do that, I feel like that is so much more important, and it makes you so much more richer in beauty. So we should definitely concentrate a lot on that, because that's gonna boost your confidence like so high if you're contributing to the world in a positive way, and it's gonna make you feel good about yourself. So then I put here that we could change our worth to what we contribute into the world rather than what we look like. But thinking about it, I do feel like we like to celebrate how we look like. We like to be attractive. We like to look at people like the guy that I met who's very handsome. Like, I want to look at him. I actually want to stare at him. So I think that we do appreciate aestheticness. I do want to put on a pink top or a white top, and I do want to put glitter on my eyes. Like, okay, let's celebrate beauty, but let's also celebrate contribution and what we bring to the world apart from beauty. Let's make that as important, basically. And so then we allow our attraction to be something natural. So there's a bike outside. I hope they're not gonna stick around. Please go away. But that's actually annoying. It's not even a bike, it's a lawnmower. So I'm going to have to carry on talking. So let attraction be natural. Somebody who's like naturally attracted to you because they like your contribution, they like your beauty, and then they're attracted to you. If somebody doesn't find you attractive, like, leave them alone, like, go away. And let that be natural, because I'm telling you, I see sometimes like somebody who's really good looking, and then the girlfriend is like not as good looking. I know that's like so judgmental of me, and it's like the opposite of what I'm trying to say in this video. Or for example, somebody's really skinny and they're with somebody who's like really not skinny. These words are triggering. I know I'm just using like really bad words here, but we see that attraction is not always about matching, oh, how pretty am I and how pretty are you? And it's not. It's about attraction. So let attraction be natural. And then if it's not natural, then go away. And let that go away and understand that that's just like not for you. It's like saying like, oh, Nayna, mushrooms finds you ugly. And it's like, okay, because I don't like mushrooms anyway. So, okay. And why am I gonna cry about mushrooms finding me ugly when I don't want the mushrooms? If somebody doesn't match you and they're not naturally attracted to you, then okay, I don't want that then. I want somebody who's naturally attracted to me. So to close the discussion, closing conclusion, I think a lot of these things are all in our brain. A lot of these negative things are in our brain. And so then when we're looking for it, we can connect with the negative perception of others on ours as well. So if we concentrate on our positive ones, then we can look for people who share that same view. And they promote what we want to believe about ourselves, because the opposite is also there, and we don't want to do that, where people agree with us and they have a negative perception of us, and then it feeds the negative idea that I have of myself. Like, we don't want to do that. We want to do the opposite of that. We might as well control the brain to serve you and to be positive towards you, and then find people who match that. We might as well do that. So ignore all of it, all of the negativity. Ignore it. I'm going to start ignoring all these things that my brain says about my ugly traits, how my face looks like this and my face looks like that. No, I delete you. I'm gonna ignore it. You're not real. And I'm gonna find loads of people who say the opposite to that, and I'm gonna like stick around those people. Why? Because we want to feel beautiful. Why? Because I think we appreciate aestheticness, because we appreciate in other people. And so we want people to appreciate it in us because we appreciate it in other people. And that's fair. The whole world should be giving you love and you giving the world love. So of course that's fair. People should find you beautiful the way that you find that person beautiful. Imagine that, having reciprocation. You know, when you like are totally in love with somebody because of how attractive they are and how like beautiful they are, because obviously I've been going through that in the past few days. Imagine that being reciprocated, where that person, I was gonna say somebody feels that way about you, but it's icing on the cake if that exact same person feels the exact same way about you, like, and they're like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. Like, imagine that reciprocation, and that is ecstasy, right? So we might as well, you deserve that. Everybody deserves that. So might as well do it. Believe in it, and then surround yourself with that. And so then when we concentrate on all the positive things and we fall in love with ourselves and we're just like, yes, like the reciprocation is real and it's possible and I deserve it. And when we come from the place of the contribution to the positive world, then we shine. And when we shine, we become even more naturally beautiful. So when you concentrate on the positive, you become naturally beautiful, and then you get loads of compliments naturally because you're shining. And that's what we should do. We should shine naturally because we love ourselves just the way we are. We think it's beautiful. We fan all these beautiful things. We concentrate on them, and then we concentrate on the contribution to the world, and that makes us beautiful, and then we shine. So, quote of the week. What quote did I find for you today? I changed the chair because I knew I was going to be too distracted, so then I got the second chair, and the other chair is downstairs. Quote of the week. Beauty begins the moment you decide to be yourself. Yeah! It says here Coco Chanel, right? But I'm sure that somebody else said that somewhere before that company said it, so I don't know. But it says Coco Chanel, but I don't know. Beauty begins the moment you decide to be yourself. Yeah, I think that's very true. I think that's very, very true. So there are so many beautiful things about you. You might as well look at those things, concentrate on those things and nourish them, make them grow, display them, and remind yourself of those things when you start feeling ugly. And if you're having body dysmorphia, remind yourself of the things that make you beautiful. And hopefully that will start helping you to like not have body dysmorphia. I'll let you know how mine goes. I don't know if I'm always gonna have body dysmorphia, like I hope not. Let's see how my therapist does with helping me with that. Ignore the ugliness and talk out loud to yourself if you need to, because that helps me a lot to change my mind about things. I just talk out loud to myself all the time, and it helps me a lot, because thinking is like really like thinking is like messy, and talking out loud is not messy. So that's why I talk out loud, because I want to gain control over my brain. So then I talk out loud and I gain control. So if you talk out loud to yourself about your insecurities and how like they're not real or are they real, and have this discussion with yourself, logicalize it with yourself out loud, speaking out loud, I swear that will help you, because it helps me 100%. Okay, I spoke about something today that is very embarrassing for me. I hope that it has helped you in some way. I hope that you can feel beautiful and love yourself. I'm on the journey of doing that, and yeah, you are beautiful. So that would be my closing message now.